All right, guys, here we go. Let's talk physiology, the study of function in the respiratory system. We've gone through the upper respiratory system, the lower respiratory system, kind of understand all the parts, the need for exchanging oxygen with CO2. So let's go through the process of how this all works through the physiology of all. Physiology, entire process of gas exchange between the atmosphere and cells is called respiration. The process of oxygen utilized and carbon dioxide utilization and carbon dioxide production at the cellular level is called cellular respiration. So, respiration is the act of breathing. It's inhalation, exhalation, the bringing in of air and moving out of air. And what happens in that process is the cellular respiration as the cells begin to breathe on their own, moving stuff in and out to the CO2 and O2 to survive. So, the event of respiration includes one, ventilation, which is breathing, movement of air in and out of the lungs. Two, external respiration, gas exchange between the blood and the air in the lungs. Three, internal respiration, gas exchange between the blood and the cells. And finally, four, gas transport in blood between the lungs and body cells. So the function of respiration system itself, number one, inhalation. So this is different than ventilation or respiration. This is one piece of the entire respiratory process. So inhalation is bringing oxygen into the lungs to be delivered to the body's cells and tissue. Two, exhalation, expelling carbon dioxide back into the air. And number three, airflow through the larynx, allowing speech to occur. So the first two pieces here are all about respiration. Okay, so we look at the idea that we have inhalation, we're bringing air, fresh air in, and exhalation, pushing waste product out, which is carbon dioxide. A third thing that can happen here in that exhalation is speech, as it pushes air through the vocal cords or the larynx, and this creates speech on its own. So ventilation itself, inspiration. The active phase of ventilation involves contraction of muscles in the thorax to bring air into the lungs. So number one, the diaphragm contracts, moving downward. The chest, number two, the chest rises and expands, and number three, air moves in. So to take in a breath, ventilation, the inspiration process, we have down here the diaphragm, okay, principal muscle of respiration. This diaphragm is going to drop down. When it drops down, it creates this space in here to expand and get larger. Chest rises and expands. Air moves in. Why? Because when we drop this muscle down and the chest expands, we create basically negative pressure inside the lungs, positive pressure outside. So it's natural for anything of pressure, positive pressure, to rush in to the negative space and eventually equals out and respiration then stops. Expiration, the passive phase of ventilation involving relaxation of muscles in the thorax to release air out of the airway. So number one, the diaphragm relaxes, moving upwards, and chest. Number two, chest relaxes, coming back down, and number three, air moves out. So the diaphragm, which was down here during expiration, will move back up. The chest then decreases in size, causing positive pressure inside, negative pressure outside, causing all of this to rush out till they both equal out in pressure, and then ventilation stops altogether, or the respiration, the exhalation portion stops. This is how we remove unwanted oxygen from our unwanted air from our chest. Positive and negative pressures. Normal pressure outside the body will equal the pressure within the lungs when there is no breathing or ventilation. Okay. As you inhale, your diaphragm contracts and moves downward. Your chest expands, creating a large space within the lungs. Therefore, when there is a large space in the lungs, more air can be added to keep pressure the same. At this point, there is less pressure within the lungs than outside the body. We call this negative pressure. To regain equilibrium, air moves into the lungs. As you exhale, your diaphragm relaxes and moves upward. Your chest decompresses, creates a small space within the lungs. If no air is removed, there would be more pressure within the lungs than outside the body. We call this positive pressure. Therefore, Now that there is a small space within the lungs, air needs to be removed or restored to restore equilibrium. The regained equilibrium, air moves out of the lungs. There you go. We're going to stop right there. Okay, guys? Pretty simple, straightforward, easy stuff. I'm going to have a couple of questions for you guys to answer along the way as well. Very important we understand this. And we will have a live discussion about inhalation and exhalation, the positive pressure, positive, negative pressure of breathing. Okay? Guys, have a good day. Thank you very much. Bye.